Welcome to USBC's PBA Experience. This is your chance to compete on the same lane conditions faced by us on the PBA Tour. I'm Chris Barnes, along with 13-time titleist Jason Couch. Today you're going to take on the Scorpion pattern. It's a 41-footer, and the name says it all. This one's really tough, and if you make some mistakes, it will definitely sting you. Jason will now tell you about the nuts and bolts of this one.
Scorpion pattern's 41 feet in distance. Very unique compared to the other patterns, though. It has more oil down the lane than it does in the front of the lane, so errant shots to the outside never hook back. This pattern usually plays very straight, and once the oil transitions down the lane, you have to move a little outside, and then once they start to break down, you can move further inside, and the scoring pace of this one's usually medium to low.
So, Jason, what kind of balls do you use when you're playing this pattern?
Obviously, you want to play them fairly straight, so I tend to use balls that don't flare too much. Simple drill patterns, 4.5 inch pin, and I generally try and stay around the second arrow. You need to watch the transitions. If you don't see the transitions, you throw an errant shot, you're in big trouble.
Now, you said there is transitions. How many different transitions do you have on the left side of the lane?
There's actually two transitions you'll see. You'll see where the oil does carry down and it gets very difficult to hold the pocket. You actually have to move outside to carry down, play that for probably a game and a half, and then you'll actually move back inside where you originally started and use that friction to the left to actually get the ball back to the pocket.
On the right side, it's much of the same thing. We'll use pretty strong balls. We'll play somewhere between 8 and 12, depending on the surface. If you're an older wood surface, you may start in closer to 10 or 12. On a newer synthetic surface, we'll probably play right, somewhere between 7 and 10. And then as we break them down with more bowlers than there is on the left, we'll tend to just move left as we go. With that much oil down the lane, though, you still don't get severe angles. If you do, 2 8-10s and some big splits can come up pretty quickly.
And obviously, early in the transition, you're going to make parallel moves. If you're going to move your feet a couple of boards to the outside, move your target also. That's so you can stay out of the carry down. And then once you move the transition in, you're obviously going to start chasing it with your feet more to the inside than you will your target.
Now let's go to tape. This is in Chicago where you won earlier this year on this very same pattern.
Obviously, a pretty good shot there, good break. Got to be fortunate sometimes. If you notice, the ball isn't really back-ending that much on that shot.
Yeah, it's pretty direct in all those revs. This is where rev rate really comes into play here. Comes in a little light, watch the head pin. Bang. Nothing new there.
Got to be lucky and good,
And then the second shot, well, more of the same.
A little love tap there. Looks like Tommy Jones' luck for a change.
Well, we could all use a little bit of that.
Absolutely.
We'll watch a replay here. This one's a little bit wider than the last one, but still not nearly as far out as some of the patterns where you can get it out to 3, 4, 5. This one, 6 or 7, is about as far out as you can get it and still have any chance of getting it back.
Absolutely. Any further outside of that, and it's not going to hook back.
And this very last shot, this one actually does get out a little bit further, and it's pretty firm. It was early in the match.
Right, and obviously that's the penalty you pay if you bowl on the Scorpion and you do miss outside of your target.
The dreaded 3-7-9. I didn't know you could leave those.
I don't like to leave them too often because I usually don't make it.
After the break, Tommy Jones gives us his perspective on the Scorpion. And this is the silly question of the day because they all look like house shots to Tommy. But Tommy, are you comfortable on this pattern?
Well, Chris, I like the Scorpion pattern. I just try not to get stung.
We'll be right back.
70 million men, women, and children enjoy America's #1 participation sport, bowling. As its governing body, the United States Bowling Congress strives to keep the ball rolling for veteran athletes and new enthusiasts with certified leagues, coaching programs, and innovative equipment testing. Join the momentum of America's favorite participation sport. Bowl with us.
Welcome back. Joining us in our discussion about Scorpion is Player of the Year, Tommy Jones. Tommy, how do you attack this condition?
Well, the Scorpion pattern tends to play, pretty difficult for us on tour. There's a lot of transition stuff. So what I try to do is eliminate the back part of the lane. Don't really want my ball changing directions too much. Use stronger balls and just try to get the ball to pick up and roll.
Do you start out playing around 10 like some of us lower rev rate guys, or do you end up moving in from the very get-go?
No, I'm a little left to you guys. I try to use what you guys build and start around 18 and throw it off all those dull balls that you guys use on the women's tour.
You're not insinuating that you need lane help, are you, Thomas?
I'm definitely saying that. You're only as good as your ability, and I know what I need.
That's pretty bad right there.
So how many transitions do you see when you're playing this pattern, Tom?
Well, you'll see a couple after it takes about 2 games for the lanes to transition a little bit to start, and then after that they transition pretty quickly. They'll transition for, the whole 5 games of the 7-game block, and really in matches you can really manipulate the lane to make it do what you want to do in this pattern.
Well, let's go to some tape. This one's in Long Island, and it's on TV, so you won.
I think I bowled you there. I'm not real sure.
Oh, look at this.
How do you get a double messenger with a ball hitting that flat?
I don't know. I mean, it's the 5-pin jumping back out of the back, or the mechanic threw it. I'm not sure which.
Must be nice to be Tommy Jones.
Isn't it something?
On some days it is. You're right.
This is a Tommy Jones flat 10 here, where the rest of us actually leave the flat 10. But flat 10 for Tommy is where the scout only hits it at the bottom of the pin.
At this point, me and you are back at the ball return, picking up the spare ball, knowing that we're going to shoot the corner pin.
If you guys weren't using 320, your ball wouldn't burn up so fast.
Tell me, what were you doing in this tournament?
Well, it's hard for me to remember that tournament that far back, but it was a scorpion pattern, pretty far left, just trying to get it to push through there, get to roll off 10, and, fortunately had a pretty good ball reaction there. Strong drill, big time, and, it had a light load of particle, it picked up, rolled nicely, and everything pulled pretty good that day.
On the second clip we saw, obviously he got a little bit more of a handful of it, as we like to call it on tour, and you saw all 10 go straight back. Obviously, Tommy made an adjustment, but getting just that little bit extra on it seemed to knock that 10 pin down pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a big change for Tommy to go ahead and go after it at the bottom.
Well, some of us have that ability. Some of us aren't locked in it one way.
Well, certainly being one of the younger fellows on tour, I think it helps Tommy out a little bit. But age does catch up with you at some point.
Well, it looks like it's catching up with him already. You guys both bowled on TV last year on this pattern. If you bowled each other, who do you think would win?
Without a doubt, it would be me. I mean, I have the better match play record against Tommy. I've thrown 30 strikes in a row against Tommy in the matches. There's a few guys out here that may be intimidated by Tommy Jones. He doesn't scare me one bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those 2 shows you made on this pattern that, 2-1 that you bowled wouldn't have been enough against me. But, I'll let you dream. Your head's big enough as it is.
And we're out of time. For Jason Couch and Tommy Jones, I'm Chris Barnes. Thanks for joining us and enjoy your PBA experience.